Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to 22 Panels and my favorite roundtable of the year. It's the Baseball and Comics Roundtable. So far in the room, we have baseball writers Rob Neyer and Derek Gold, comic writer Fred Van Lente, comics journalists Heidi McDonald's and Brian Baines, and comics a little bit of everything, Darren Bennett, probably best known as the letterer and head of And World Design. So, how is everybody? How was your baseball seasons? I know the Mets fans want to talk first.
Well, I mean, it's all maybe, it's all downhill from, I mean, we just had the best baseball season ever that didn't result in a World Series win. So,
Well, I
it's
mean, what
extraordinary.
I will say is that as much as I miss El Mago and the way Javi Baez was when he was with the Cubs, A, he's gone significantly downhill since then, and B, that like month that you had him gave us Pete Crow Armstrong. So,
I mean, every team but one goes home disappointed, right? So
Yeah.
something like that.
enjoy it while you can.
Well, Fred's got his Grimace Mets background, so he's really
One of
ready to roll.
several I'm going to be rolling out during the course of
Yes.
the roundtable.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, it was a super fun season for us. It was a fun season in general. I think the playoffs in general were pretty terrific.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't particularly like the fact we didn't get the pennant or the championship. I just had a lot of fun. I also like I absolutely overdosed on my Mets fandom this year. I went to spring training at Port St. Lucie. I'm probably one of the only Mets fans to see Kodai Senga pitch back-to-back games because I saw him in Brooklyn, and then by a total coincidence, I saw him the following week in Syracuse. I came within a hair's breadth of going to the Binghamton Rumble Ponies.
Oh, wow.
That did not work out. Otherwise, I would have been to every Mets-owned ballpark in the country. And Heidi and I accidentally got to sit next to the Grimace seat.
Yes,
corner, which was pretty awesome.
We had a close encounter with Grimace, so
that's true.
And now Philly fan Mark Russell has joined us.
Mark.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, we'll allow it.
For now. Not a Philly fan, actually, Mariners fan.
That's right. The first time we talked, you were wearing a Phillies t-shirt, so
Yeah,
that sticks in my head. It was on sale.
Walmart had a bid.
I get that. That's how I get a lot of my hats. I went with the Oakland hat today just because I like to call them the Sacramento A's to piss off Major League Baseball.
Well, the A's are another story that is, heartrending, really.
Oh, God.
I mean, I do think it was an exemplary baseball season. There were just, the A's is very sad and regrettable, but it still showed the depth of the fandom that exists in Oakland and really shows how a community can come to love a franchise, even though it has its ups and downs, and even a really, really awful stadium like the Coliseum. And it was awful. I don't know who here has been to it, but woo.
I haven't.
I've been to Shea Stadium, and I understand that they're very similar. And they were
but no, Shea Stadium does not have a barbed wire encased causeway to enter it. So,
but maybe if they had,
they're strikingly different. Shea Stadium never felt like. I mean, you didn't have Mount Davis at Shea Stadium, where it was a football stadium, and you feel every bit of the football stadium.
Right.
This cavernous baseball. I wonder if, like, just to get baseball nerd on y'all, and Rob may chime in on this. I wonder if, because baseball won't be played at the Coliseum, if we've seen the last of that kind of foul territory, and thus the last of that kind of game, that kind of baseball game where you could have those pitchers succeed because of all those outs in that foul territory. Now all the new places have seats closer and closer and closer to the action. We that style of baseball probably won't exist.
I always wanted to get out there for the foul territory because that always was fascinating to watch on TV or play in video games where, like, you can just run and run and run.
Well, the good news is we'll always have the Moneyball movie if you want to revisit
That's
the
true.
Coliseum, because there's a lot of great scenes that are shot in that stadium. And unlike many of the defunct stadiums that are basically gone and there's no way to revisit them,
Yeah.
except for in short little video clips here and there, you can get a real sense of the Coliseum by watching that movie.
It's actually one of my favorite things about a good baseball video game is when they recreate the old stadiums.
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll always have County Stadium, home of the Major League Cleveland.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course, right.
Yeah.
Right there in Milwaukee.
Joe Siraki wasn't able to join us, but he wanted to put in his word for Major League as the best piece of baseball media, just because, you know, his hometown Guardians. So, like I said, while we have both baseball guys, because Derek has to go like do a job, I had to put together the trivia, and I got super geeky. So everybody gets to be in on all of the trivia this year, both the baseball and the comics questions, because I'm curious as to who pulls off what. So first, a baseball question. On September 5th, 1938, Satchel Paige threw 8 innings for Agrario in the Mexican League, a team that also included Josh Gibson, Ray Dandridge, and Willie Wells, leaving the game deadlocked 1-1 against a future Hall of Fame pitcher who would finish that season with an 18-2 record, .92 ERA, and league-leading 184 strikeouts for Aguila. Cuban hurler Ramon Bergana relieved Page and gave up a walk-off home run to the league's leading hitter, who had a .387 average at the time. Who was the pitcher who defeated Page, and who was the batter who hit the home run?
Well, I'm gonna throw this out there. I think it's a trick question. It's the same guy, Cristobal Torriente.
You are right and wrong. It is a trick question. It's the same guy. It is not Cristobal Torriente.
Shoot. I have no idea.
I wish I knew more about my 1930s Mexican League pitchers.
I know, right, man? I should have boned up on it.
Well, the
He
only other
also
guy I
played
can
for the
think
New
of
York Cubans.
I was not
And
told
he's
that.
in
The only other guy I can
5
think of
Hall
is
of Fames.
the only other guy I can think of is Ted Double Duty Radcliffe. Not him either.
Martin Digo.
Higo, right?
Martin Digo.
Of
In
course.
5 Cuban Hall of Fame, Mexican Hall of Fame, Negro League, Major League, and Puerto Rican Baseball Hall of Fames.
I forgot he pitched.
Yeah, he did everything. So our first comics question. The first graphic novel, It Rhymes with Lust, was written by Doom Patrol creator Arnold Drake and novelist Leslie Waller under the pseudonym Drake Waller. Very creative, that pseudonym. For St. John Publications, who was the artist of this 1950 picture novel?
Matt Baker.
Bingo. I knew Fred would be on top of that.
Yeah, I knew that one too, but it's almost too easy. Everybody knows that in comics, I thought, right? Oh, I don't know.
I didn't know it.
Yeah, no, the comics ones are almost more for the baseball people, and I am not as good at writing comics trivia as I am baseball trivia.
These
next two I really cheated.
Which of these categories I'm going to be worse at.
These next two I really cheated, and it's more things that you get to guess on, because I use games that I actually was in attendance at. On July 22nd, 1997 at Wrigley Field, Greg Maddux dispatched the Cubs throwing only 78 pitches. Mark Grace's 5-pitch at-bat in the 7th was the longest the Cubs had on the day. Grace saw 15 pitches that day, 20% of Maddox's total, and 6 more than any other Cub hitter. Who tied Eddie Perez for the longest at-bat of the game at 8 pitches, and also tied for second for the most overall pitches seen with Ryan Klesko at 19, behind Perez's 24.
Is it a Brave or a Cub?
Well, since no Cub had more than
Do we get
5
clues?
pitches in at
All right. I'm going to take a stab then. I'm going to say Chipper Jones.
No, Chipper Jones, I think, had 16 pitches on the day. He had a decent day.
Andrew.
I like that the trivia category is games Tad has been to.
Well, this was a beautiful game, though. And it's a cool answer.
Was it Greg Maddox?
It was, in fact, Greg Maddox, who had an 8-pitch at bat in the second, a 6-pitch at bat in the sixth, and saw 19 pitches on the day and more than almost any two Cubs. Who was the good duck artist is the easy part of this question, but the follow-up is how was he unmasked?
He was unmasked in Comic Art Fanzine issue 6 or 7.
Yeah. Look at Brian Baines.
I make a fanzine. Can you tell? It's Carl Barks. Sorry, did I not say that?
No, you didn't say Carl Barks, but do you remember who wrote the fanzine article?
I don't. I've read it. I've seen the zine before, but try Googling it. Comic art. You won't find anything.
It might have been the Thompsons.
It was the Spicers.
Ah.
John and Bill Spicer. Yeah. Were the first ones to write a letter to ask about his address and sent him a fan letter and then started the magazine.
Yeah, yeah. They found his name. He was in one issue, his name, and then the next issue, the interview. Like they dug a little deeper. Is that right? Anyways,
yeah.
Yay for fanzines, real history.
But I will say, then it was enshrined in the book, the comic book. No, All in Color for a Dime, which Don Thompson and Richard Lupoff edited, and a whole bunch of essays about the secret people behind the comics, which is how I learned about it.
That I'm going to have to find that book now, Heidi.
Oh my God, it's and then there was a follow-up called the Comic Book, and they're very formative, like texts. Let's put it that way.
I used to have like used bookstore copies of them. Were both ex-library copies,
right?
Somewhere, but they've vanished in a move at some point.
Don't ever move.
I just realized that I forgot to mention the other cool part about the Maddox game, which is that it wasn't a Maddox. A Maddox is technically what? A complete game shutout, throwing under 100 pitches. Maddox threw the complete game at 78 pitches, but he gave up a run. He won 4-1. Which is why it's always actually been my problem with the Maddox stat, is Maddox often gave up the run. He just didn't give up enough to lose. Last baseball trivia question, and you're going to see a theme in terms of trick answers here. Kerry Wood returned from Tommy John surgery on May 2nd, 2000, facing the same Astros team that he rocketed into the record book against 2 years earlier. He would pitch 6 innings, strike out 4, walk 4, and give up a home run to future teammate Darrell Ward on the way to an 11-1 Cubs win. Who hit the home run to cap the Cubs' 4-run second that would give them the lead that they never relinquished?
Gary Wood.
Gary Wood. I was at that game. It was like playoff atmosphere. There was nothing that was going to surprise us that day. You know, if he'd struck out 20 again, we would have been not surprised at all. If his arm had fallen off, we would have been not surprised at all. Right. When he hit the home run, you could hear a pin drop. Everybody took it
like
in.
A home run swing either. It was kind of like
everybody took it in and went, did that just happen? And then the place erupted. Dennis Kitchen hasn't shown up yet, so I don't have to say that he's not allowed to answer this one. In the early years of San Diego Comic-Con, what was Friday afternoon reserved for? Who participated and where?
Well, it was the Comics Pros versus Diamond softball game. Yep. And it took place in Balboa Park. And of course, Dennis was on the team. Let's see, who else was on the team? I think Mike Martins might have been on the team for Diamond at that point.
Diamond Comics Distributors.
Yes, Diamond Comics Distributors. Boy, I don't remember who else. Vince Letterio was on the team. I remember that from DC Comics. And yeah, I don't know why they would be opposite Diamond. I mean, that seems a bit
Well, I think it was distributors, and at least at the beginning, according to an interview Dennis gave and conversations he and I have had a couple of times, it was there were some years I think where it was editors versus publishers, and then other years where it was artists and distributor or artists and
right.
editors against distributors and like store owners.
Yes, I think that the makeup of the team had to be shifted to make up the full team. You know who was on it? Dean Mullaney from Eclipse Comics. He also was always on the game. And um I'm sure if I now that I'm ruminating about it, but of course Eclipse made the baseball cards for comics
Yeah.
creators around the
Right.
same time. So that was a little sporty crossover. At the time I just didn't understand why anyone would want to leave Comic-Con. How could you possibly leave the con and go do something else? I mean, that doesn't make
To
sense
play
to me.
baseball.
To play baseball all the way to about, well, maybe in the early years. Yeah, in those days it might not even have, it was probably still at the old Golden Hall. So Balboa Park wasn't quite as far away. But to me it was like, you gotta get in a car and go. I'm not going.
Yeah. Apparently, there was one year that they made arrangements to play at Jack Murphy, and something fell through at the last minute. I don't know if it was rain or something, but they made all necessary arrangements. It was going to be at Jack Murphy that year
Well,
until like the day of.
Now Comic-Con takes over Petco.
Yeah.
I remember last year I went, which was a while ago, they had a whole Walking Dead, like, zombies will chase you through Petco Park thing going on.
So
Yeah,
they take over Petco, but they don't play baseball?
I mean, maybe some of the zombies were in uniform.
Another tie-in, of course, is that Steve Jeppy, the owner of Diamond Comics Distributors, I believe he gave up his stake, but he was for a little while a very small stake in the Orioles, and he is a big baseball
Okay.
fan. So that was a part of the whole to do.
We got baseball fans all over comics. This is why I feel at home. All right. So since we have the trivia out of the way, favorite moments of the year. I know Mets fans have a lot, so we're going to start with Brian.
Let's not.
Brian gets to start.
No. Come back to me.
No good Nationals moments this year.
What was a good Nationals moment? I don't know. Some good debuts. I guess I watched plenty of good debuts, and that was fun.
Who are you looking forward
But,
to most?
The Nationals? I don't
Yeah.
know. I watched the Richmond Flying Squirrels. That's like I watched that. That's the hat I brought.
Brian, there's a radio talk show host here in New York who is convinced that Juan Soto is going to return to the Nationals and is deeply interested.
I'm so tired. The free agent news is so, like, one of my favorite things about baseball is that it goes away, unlike comics, which is just never ever ending. It's like and
Wait
I
a
love
minute.
that.
You think baseball goes away?
I mean, unless you want to just unless you want to just read the same tweet over and over again about Juan Soto theories.
Well, I don't
like
tweets,
but I just can't. Like I can't. Like I
the
have
off
to,
seasons
like,
for history books and long form articles.
I try and watch a few movies because I don't watch them all year. I watch baseball every night.
If you
But,
Right? Same for me. It's like, oh, there's no baseball. This is when I watch. I'm watching The Penguin. It's my first thing to watch, and then I'm catching up on movies. It's wonderful.
Yeah. But anyways, so right now, me thinking about Soto coming back to the Nationals, I don't know. Should I start a conversation and say I don't know if I care. I don't know I don't know. But
he's not meeting them publicly, so it's a wild conspiracy theory.
Yeah. I don't think it's gonna happen. The team is in ownership transition, and I don't really see them making a big splash with like a hitter. They never really did that. They love pitching, at least this ownership. But whatever. James Wood, I'm excited. I had a fun year watching the young team not suck, because they sucked a lot the past couple years. So I was like,
I love watching young teams.
So I was just thrilled.
Sometimes
that's
even
what
when
I'll
they suck.
say, that they didn't suck. and you could watch the game and you could think like they might win. Every time you could always think like they might win, at least in the first few innings.
Good deal.
So
Derek probably got to watch more baseball games than any of us this year. Did you have a favorite moment?
Yeah, I saw. Well, I do. I see 100 plus or more a game. Yeah, a lot. I see a lot.
Well, I
And
mean,
so
you get paid to, so
I
I
do.
hope
Yeah,
you do.
it is kind of the gig. Yeah, that's fair. It is the gig, and I'm taking notes on how we got to tell better stories apparently in the winter. Otherwise,
it's okay.
no, it's all right. I'll try to keep the tweets to a minimum and the stories to crank them up a notch. I'm gonna actually say my favorite moment is one that I was not at, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Of all the games I went to, this is the first time ever. Just quick aside, I took some time off in the middle of the season. My son graduated high school, so I wanted to spend that last time that we had together, and we went on a backpacking trip. It just so happened to coincide with when Rickwood happened, and so I returned and got to talk to my colleagues who covered the Cardinals Giants at Rickwood. I got to watch it all, hear about it, see it, and I think just that whole build up with them taking the stats from the Negro Leagues and saying these are now part of our big league leaders, and then the emotion of that day, just with hours after Willie Mays died, you had this tribute and this celebration of baseball right there in his hometown at a ballpark that's awesome to go to. I've been fortunate enough to go there before. Got to go there with my son many years. Actually, got to go there with my son on Election Day 2012 and run the bases with him, and it was incredible to do. And then you add in the fact that the first major league regular season game played in Alabama, and a home run is hit by a guy from Alabama. It's just too perfect. That's a great moment. And if like the whole build up, the pregame ceremony, all the emotions, Willie McGee there with with some of the great stars, the Ryan Howard delivering tickets, just the whole thing was done so well.
Right. Yeah. It was definitely fun to watch. Mark, any favorite moments?
I would say probably June. Like about halfway through June, the Mariners were unbelievably like 10 games ahead in the AL West. And, I never really think they're going to go to the playoffs. But at that moment, I thought, okay, yeah, they're going to do it. They're going to win the AL West this year. And of course, it was all downhill after there, which is the way it usually tracks for me. It's like the moment I begin believing in a team, they're cursed.
Right.
But it was just nice. It was unusual to me. I felt like this was a novel thing to actually feel like they were going to win the division.
Yeah. I was
also,
with you on that.
The A's last game was against the Mariners.
Yeah. The last game in Oakland?
Also, and in retrospect, I kind of wish the Mariners had lost.
In some ways, it's more fitting that they didn't.
Yeah, right. By the way, if anyone's wondering about the ominous sterile background here, I'm actually at the hospital. I had to take a friend to the hospital sort of without, unexpectedly. So
well,
just
I hope your friend's okay.
They're going to.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's going to be okay. But just fair warning, they're going to call me when he's ready to go. So if I skip out,
we
that's
understand.
where I'm going.
We completely understand. I mean, thank you for your dedication to baseball and comics.
I'm sure he'll be fine, but yeah, just so you know, if I leave, it's an excused absence.
That's fair. Rob, favorite moments this year, and you can absolutely talk about moments as commissioner. Tell me about the pickles.
Well, that wasn't my favorite moment of the whole season, but it was a pretty amazing moment when the Portland Pickles first dethroned the Corvallis Knights, who had won, I think, 6 straight championships in the West Coast League. And then 2 nights later, playing at home, the Pickles beat the Walla Walla Sweets in the bottom of the 9th inning. Not the Walla Walla Sweets, the Wenatchee Apple Sox
I'm going to
You were
change
there.
my answer. The Pickles winning the PCL championship, my favorite moment of
Were
this.
you at the game, Mark?
I wasn't at that one. I was at the playoff, the first playoff game.
Earlier when they played Ridgefield, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was at one of those games too. Maybe not that one, but anyway, the Pickles championship game was amazing. For the first time in league history, the fans stormed the field. So it took 15 minutes before I could hand the trophy off. So I'm just standing there in the middle of all these people with this trophy in my hands like an idiot.
Wait,
I'm not cheering.
you're the commissioner. Does that
Well-
mean you have to ban fans now?
Everybody was peaceful and happy, and
Okay.
I thought it was great.
Wait a minute. I wanna just nail this one down as the journalist reporter here. Like, so wait, what is your position? You are the commissioner of.
The West Coast League.
This is a real thing. This is not a
Yeah.
rotisserie.
No,
This is a
no.
real thing with real teams in Portland and 16 other places.
How do you
starting
get
this
to
summer.
be the commissioner?
That is a long and very weird story. But when I started 6 years ago, they were desperate and figured they'd bring me on for a few months, and now I'm still here. So I'm not sure how or why.
But I mean, good Lord, I mean, there could be so many things like fans on the field and, there could be a pine tar incident of some kind.
There are so many things, and if I ever write a book about it, I will have lots of amazing stories that I haven't been able to tell you.
Please.
Yeah.
But my
Hey, Rob,
I
can
want
you
to
give me
buy the league. I think this is such an obvious call, and if I did some research, I'd probably come up with something more interesting. But I believe it was on September 19 that Shohei Ohtani hit 3 home runs, drove in 10 runs, and also became the first 50-50 player in Major League history, which all by itself was incredible. But I found the historical context even more interesting because he had already proved, in my mind, that he was the most talented player in Major League history, or baseball player of any league ever, anywhere. Prior to this year, and then to come out and have him say, well, now that I'm just going to be a hitter, I'll be the best hitter and steal the most bases, or what. It's just I remember when he first came to the majors, there were a lot of really smart people who thought that it was impossible for someone to thrive in both as a pitcher and a hitter in modern baseball. And if I had to bet, I would have bet that was probably true. I wouldn't have bet a lot. I wasn't sure, but I think that I was heavily influenced by the history. And of course, the history was that we hadn't had anyone like him in roughly 100 years. So I just assumed that, at least not in the American or National League. We mentioned
in the United States, what he does is pretty much only done in the Negro Leagues. It was like Martin Digo, Bullet Rogan.
Right.
Even Double Duty Radcliffe. Double Duty
there
gets
had been
the
examples
name,
of
but he
players,
wasn't as good at either.
Right. Wes Farrell might have been a Hall of Fame level hitter, and he certainly was a Hall of Fame level pitcher. Although he isn't in the Hall of Fame as either a pitcher or a hitter. He probably did have enough talent in both. It just didn't work out for him. But, Wes Farrell pitched in the 1930s. So even if you give Wes Farrell credit for having that sort of talent,
But I thought, like Ruth, he didn't do both in the same season, did he?
No, he did. 1918, I believe. Somebody can correct me, but he was outstanding in both roles. But it wasn't that Ruth didn't have the talent. He really wasn't the same pitcher after 1918. He didn't have the same arm strength.
Oh, yeah.
And he also didn't really want to pitch anymore. So we never really saw him try to be a great hitter and great pitcher, everyday hitter at the same time. I think he had the talent to do it. And there have probably been others. John Olerud, a lot of people thought could have been a great major league pitcher. He didn't get a chance.
Right.
But the fact that Ohtani has shown that you can not just be good in both, you can be arguably the best at the same time, just wasn't something that most of us imagined was even possible 6 or 8 years ago. So every time he goes out and does something crazy, I don't think, wow, I didn't think that was possible. Now I just think that anything is possible with him. Maybe he could hit 60 home runs. Maybe he could steal 60 bases. I wouldn't put anything past him.
Yeah. Yeah. Though I've heard that he'll probably steal a little bit less when he's pitching just because he doesn't want to hurt the pitching arm.
Which of
You're
course
muted,
he
Rob.
did. So
No, he hurt the
He got
non-pitching arm.
he just got hurt stealing. He might
Yeah.
never steal 20 bases again. Who knows? But the point is that he could do it,
Right.
and he did do it.
Right.
My favorite part of that game, just to add on, well, not my favorite part, but the added point on Rob's game that he picked there in Miami was that they also clinched a playoff spot.
Yeah.
So not only does he have this amazing game then joins the 50-50 club, but then all of his teammates get to pop champagne in the tradition. It's just like this whole day of Dodgerdom that concluded with the celebration of the win and then what he did. I thought that was kind of a cool twist that everything came together for the Dodgers at once.
All right, before we hear from all the Mets fans, Tom Pyre just weighed in. He got jammed up and can't make it today, but he says that we should know that the Yankees' historic disgrace in the 2024 World Series was completely nullified by the Salt River Rafters Arizona Fall League Championship and the 6 Yankees prospects on their roster. I understand this might upset some of you, but I don't make the rules. So Mets fans, who wants to go first?
well, we haven't heard from Darren yet. So Darren.
For me, I'd say game 1 of the doubleheader versus the Braves. That was just that you could feel everything, every inning. It was just great for baseball. Like that was great baseball. Besides, if you're a Mets fan, you just gotta love watching that game. Lindor coming through in the clutch. I had to turn off the TV for a time and come back, calm myself down. It was just, amazing. So that was really great. On a personal note for me, outside of MLB is the Savannah Bananas game at Fenway. I got to see that, and it was just really just electric. That whole stadium, just full packed energy. And if you've never got to see a banana ball, I highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's on my list.
Yeah.
My wife was just looking at where they're playing next year so that we can think about it.
Yeah, well, the first game, the doubleheader, I forget what I was doing, but I was working. I had some kind of a phone call that I could not get out of. And so I actually missed watching that unfold live, but I had it on pause. And then I maybe saw like on Twitter or something, it was like, now the Mets are leading. And I was like, what? I was like, I got to watch this whole thing through. For me, it was the Pete home run, because how could you write anything better than potentially Pete's last at bat as a Met, and you're behind in the 9th inning and only a grand slam, I mean, or not a grand slam, but just a home run. I mean, just the drama of it. It was just, if you wrote that in a boys sports book, it would just, it would be something you write in a boys sports book, and it actually happened. And you're just so happy. You're just so happy for them. And same thing. It was just good feeling. Like it's just, as a Mets fan, you don't feel that good all that often. So you really savor it.
There were so many fun moments. It was great to kind of like I get tired of like the LOL Mets and like, oh, woe is me kind of, negativity. So that was sort of super fun on that last. I'll totally second what Darren said on the last. As Heidi knows, because she's been in enough games with me, I'm a super nervous baseball fan. So I'm like, it's the last day of the season because of all this crazy weather. They got to play this stupid doubleheader. If one wins, they're in the playoffs. If they get swept, they're out. Intellectually, I know probably they're going to split the doubleheader and knock out the Diamondbacks, because if you won the first game, you're not going to really try the second game. But still, I'm a nervous Nelly, so I just got these like lawn chairs in the ship to me, and I was out in my garden building lawn chairs during the game. My wife knows how nervous I am, but my wife is like Crystal is like not doesn't have my same level of like terror. So she's constantly checking the score, and I'm sitting there, making lawn furniture, and suddenly like her form appears in the screen, staring at me, and she's like, "It's good." And so we go back and turn on the TV, and they're winning, and it's like great. And and I'm like, okay, good. Turn the TV off. I never want to like have my consciousness marred by negativity. So I always want to stop watching the minute anything is good. I'm like, the win or lose, I go back out and I build lawn furniture. A couple minutes go by. She appears at the screen door, but now she looks really sad. Like, Braves went ahead in the 8th. Edwin Diaz, our closer, blew it. And I was like, oh God, that sucks. And I was like, you know what, Fred, be a man, all right? Just, it's the end of the season. Maybe let's just watch the last inning. Don't be a loser. Let's just go, man up. Let's watch. We turn it on. Francisco Lindor hits a 2-run home run. We win the game. My wife and I are jumping up and down, screaming. I can hear screaming down the block here in Brooklyn. I was actually playing Dungeons and Dragons on Zoom, Heidi, when Pete hit that home run. But my window was open. I could hear people screaming down the street, and I'm like, is that good screaming or bad screaming? I'm like, I think it sounds like good screaming. I was like, hold on. Players went to go check out the score. So,
well, I think what everybody's saying here really is true, though. 2024 was just really a great baseball season. I mean, Shohei Ohtani's achievements, Aaron Judge playing so well.
Well, I don't like the Yankees either, so I didn't like that a ton.
But I think the playoffs, having all the main characters in it, like all the teams that people really wanted to see in the playoffs were in the playoffs, and the people really want to see lose lost, and that was amazing. And so I mean, I think I would love to hear what other people feel about this, because I think for us Mets fans, again, it's like, this satisfaction with what happened, even though we didn't go all the way. Is this normal? Can this be replicated?
It can. I've been through a couple of periods in my Cubs or Red Sox fandom where they make the playoffs regularly, and I can say if you're not a Yankees fan, just making the playoffs can make it a good season. Yes, you end on disappointment, but then you go, oh, but that was wonderful. I still bask in the glory of the 1989 Cubs season. I pull up the games on YouTube to watch them because it's just fun listening to Harry go nuts.
I mean, I know enough Yankee fans who like eat the furniture whenever they playoffs. So
I know.
It's I sort of see the other side. Well, I mean, that leads me to a question I'm sort of interested in, just as a general baseball question. Do you think the dropped fly ball by Aaron Judge will haunt him going into the 2025 season, or do you think, no, he's great, it was a minor hiccup and he's gonna be wonderful again?
I think if it had been the only mistake in the inning, maybe, but there was so much blame to go around.
I also think it sometimes comes down to how much good do you do. I mean, they're not there without Aaron Judge, so he's got all of that kind of built up. I mean, I just think at two different plays that like could have, like when Brant Brown dropped the ball in '98 in Milwaukee that almost kept the Cubs from making the playoffs. You could tell that he just like never let it go. He was never as sure in the outfield again. He still was an okay player. Alex Gonzalez made an even bigger mistake in the 2003 World Series game against the Marlins, right after the infamous play.
Hartman Bowl.
Yeah. I try not to say the name because he seems to be a good guy and still a Cubs fan in spite of everything.
Hopefully he'll be okay.
Right. Yeah.
Now that I've said his name out
loud. Well, and he was given a World Series ring, and like one of the good ones.
No, that was awesome.
Yeah. But Alex Gonzalez went back to being his sure fielding shortstop the next year. So I think it all depends on like who you are and how much of your game it is and all sorts of stuff. My hunch is Aaron Judge is going to be okay.
But the one thing we
But
do
as a
know,
Red Sox fan, I would be completely happy if he turned into Chuck Knobloch.
we know that the Yankees are going to run a lot of PFP, pitchers fielding practice. There will be lots and lots of PFP.
Never again.
Steinbrenner Field in this coming thing, as we all saw the Tigers do that in 2007, where they all lined up and had to do lots and lots of PFP.
Garrett Cole is actually the nephew of one of my coworkers. so that play was talked about a lot around here.
My father-in-law, sadly, is one of the true blue Devil Rays fans, Tampa Bay Rays fans.
Oh,
And speaking of Steinbrenner Field, the Yankees will have roommates
yeah.
in 2025, or at least.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw the photos of Tropicana Field.
Oh yeah. My therapist lives across the street, so he gave me photos out the window of his apartment. So I got a great angle on it. But it's all right, Derek. Have a great day. And if you happen to finish typing, check in.
Okay,
We'll let
will
you
do.
come back.
Yeah, I'll type fast. I'll do my best.
Really, really quick though.
Yeah.
Baseball media that more people should know, because that's the question we'll go into.
Baseball media, like
Piece
media
of baseball media, like music,
piece of-
movies, comics,
I got
baseball.
it. Yeah. Lords of the Realm by John Heller, a book, and then a novel, the Iowa Baseball Confederacy. Those are two.
Oh, I love the
pieces.
Iowa Baseball
Those
Confederacy.
are two. I know the more famous Kinsella book got made into a movie, but the
Right.
better baseball book is the Iowa Baseball Confederacy. See you guys. Great to see you, Rob.
Have a good one, Derek.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.
So yeah. Why don't we just move that way? Talk to me. Who wants to volunteer some favorite baseball media that not Rob, of course, is going to have a lot of good ones.
I'll hit with one. This comes from a comic book author, David Collier. If anyone's familiar, he's a Canadian cartoonist. He's amazing. He's a huge baseball fan. I would say get him on here, but he doesn't have a cell phone and he's not really online. So
Well, you're much better at tracking down that sort of people. So if you ever track him down,
yeah, I've hung out with him actually a couple of times in Canada, and actually, so this year I went to Canada and stayed with him, and he had a pitching setup in his alleyway. And
Nice.
I don't know the last time any of you ever tried to pitch 60 feet 6 inches. That shit is far away.
It
Like,
is.
Because I feel like the last times I've played baseball, I'm always playing on just like a park, and that is not a full-size field. And so you're kind of like, oh, throwing this ball to your friend, it's not that bad. But he was like, he had a strike zone up on the shed, and we were trying to hit it, and it was definitely fun. But okay, I'll say he's a huge reader, and he mails me baseball books like all the time. And he mailed me this great one called Fail Better: Why Baseball Matters by Mark Kingwell. And Mark Kingwell is like a philosopher, and he wrote this book about baseball, and just kind of like, obviously the old thing about how baseball is more about failing than succeeding. But the book gets really into just like the nitty gritty of like why we like baseball, and there's a lot of great just like reflection. So it's just a super romantic book. I really love the chapter on listening to baseball on the radio. He has this great line that stays with me calling it the last opera of the mind, which in this world where we're so overcome by visuals, baseball on the radio is like really like that last holdout of imagination.
Radio baseball is my primary way. I don't watch a lot of baseball games on TV. I read a lot about baseball. I listen to the radio a little bit, and I like to go to games. But I'm like Fred. I get nervous when I'm watching on TV. I can handle it at the ballpark, but on TV, it just really the only games I watch on TV are old ones where I already know how it's going to turn out.
I'm not quite as bad live.
Yeah. That's a good one, Brian.
But yeah, that's my
Rob,
recommendation. I recommend that book to people all the time. It's a
yeah,
really
no, I'm
good
gonna
book.
have to track that one down.
Yeah.
Rob, I saw your hand. You got to unmute yourself.
All right, all right. I, at the risk of being obvious again, there might be someone on this call who has not seen the unauthorized Bash Brothers experience, which is I was late to the party, but when I watched it, I was just blown away by how funny and well made it was, and weirdly authentic in an inauthentic way. So
I have
someone
actually
saw
not
this.
even heard of this, so I thank you.
Does everyone? Well, you know the Lonely Island, the video guys from SNL.
Okay.
They made this thing about Canseco and McGuire. It's all hip hop, and
Nice.
it's. I mean, I just found it to be utterly delightful. And assuming it's on Netflix, I couldn't recommend it more highly to anyone who's in this group.
I know what I'm watching tonight.
And it's short. It's like what, 30 minutes, 35 minutes. It's a short film.
Because Saturday Night Live means that my wife will be happy to watch it with me. Who wants to go next?
Book I really got a kick out of. This came out a while ago, but it's about a reporter. A reporter decided to go and become an umpire, and it's called As They See Him. Buddy of mine who's an author was at a book fair and got it signed by the author. But it's just really, he's a minor league umpire. Just sort of very interesting reading him talk about what those guys go through and how grueling the circuit is. They have to provide their own cars. And if you get it's a great story where he and the umpire gets stuck in Iowa when their car breaks down in the middle of a cornfield, and they're killing themselves trying to make the game. It's speaking again about what Brian's talking about philosophy. It's obviously we like to think umpiring isn't subjective, but obviously it is, and he talks a lot about sort of the pull between subjectivity and objectivity that all of our perceptions kind of go through. So it's As They See Him.
As They See Him by Bruce Weber.
By Bruce Weber. Yep.
Yeah.
So, I haven't actually watched this, but has anybody watched A Clean Sweep? Okay, so this is my friend Deb Aoki is always recommending it to me. It's a Korean show, and it's these retired Korean pro baseball players go and play high school teams. And she says it's great. So I can only say I'm going to say I need to watch that during my off season. That will be a good off season watch. It's called A Clean Sweep. I think it's on Netflix. So
Yeah, it is. It is.
yes,
Clean
yes.
Sweep.
Documentary or is it a fictional show?
No, it's
It's like a fictional show.
No, it's real people. No,
yeah.
it's a game show type thing. Yeah. So I mean, I can just say the concept, and I'm just like, I don't know what really happens then, but it sounds pretty good. And I'm a big fan. I mean, I don't know if this book is well known or isn't, but I guess it isn't well known because I don't know if it's well known or not. But one of my most formative books I ever read. I know it was on this podcast that I first publicly mentioned about the Great American Trading Flipping Bubblegum Baseball Card book, which all of us is our holy Bible, of course. But the Great American Novel by Philip Roth.
Yes.
Is I only read it the one time when I was a kid, but it's haunted my mind ever since. So I should probably go revisit it before I pass away and just see how make it come full circle, because I thought it was I mean, it's certainly not well regarded, but I enjoyed it.
I liked it. Rob says he read it when he was 20 and when he was 54.
All right. All right.
So Rob, I know you collect umpire books, so I'm assuming you know the Bruce Weber one.
Yeah.
How does it rank?
It's great. It's I mean, I basically have every book ever written. I've said this before, which is how you know it probably, but when
you've said it to me before.
Books, I already had a lot of umpire books, and then when I wrote the book with Dale Scott 3 years ago, I guess now, I went out and got basically the rest of them so I could have a fairly solid grounding in the literature. And Weber's book is the only, this is probably an exaggeration, but it's certainly the best written book about umpires. I don't know that it's the best. Somebody might choose like one of the memoirs, Dale Scott's book that I worked on, I hope, or trying to think of some of the other guys who wrote books. Most of them are not great. And Weber's book is the only sort of deep dive into the profession, because not only did he actually somehow finagle his way into a job working minor league baseball. Those jobs are really hard to get. It's shocking to me that whoever was running the umpiring training system at that time gave him one of those jobs, because typically you have to go to one of the schools and then be one of the top graduates. And I don't recall if he was one of the top graduates. If so, huge credit to him, but it's really hard to get one of those jobs. You can be a really good, strong candidate and not get a pro job. Instead, some of those guys come to work in my league who go to those schools. So the fact that he was able to get one of those jobs, live that life, drive around. I think he was maybe in the Pioneer League, which is in upper Midwest or Upper West. It's a different league now, but I think he worked in the Pioneer League, low Class A, for a summer. But he also did a lot of reporting with major league umpires. So you get both ends of it. You get the lowest level of pro umpiring and the major league guys. And it's just by far the best overview of umpiring that anybody's done. And it will never be topped. That book will never be written again. So that will stand as the source for a look at professional umpiring. That's the book, and it's really well done.
Alrighty. Darren?
I'm gonna go in a different direction. Go with video games. I don't know if any of you own the Switch, but Power Pros is a little virtual game that instead of going after MLB The Show or anything like that, I downloaded WBSC. It's an e-baseball game where you like can play against international players and everything like that. And it's more like a throwback to the classic NES baseball games and things like that. That's why I enjoy it. It's just simple characters, simple mechanics, and just fun all around. So if you have a Switch and need
WBSC?
Yes, Power Pros. And you can download, and it's just easy to play. I can get my young nephews to play and everything like that. It's just fun for everybody. And also, if I'm looking on TV, it got canceled after one season, but I love Pitch. That was something that I enjoyed.
And I loved that show. I loved that show so much.
My wife knew on that show.
Yeah. But you know what? Maybe it was good it ended
Yeah.
because the way they were going, them having the romance was just going to ruin the whole show. So yeah, let's leave it into our minds what happened.
I was definitely a fan.
Yeah, I think every baseball did anybody ever see Ball 4? The sitcom based on Jim Bouton's book, which he starred in. It was on when I was a kid. I watched it, and it was only lasted 6 episodes. And yes, it existed. It was a thing. And
1976.
1976. And I probably no copies exist of it. It is lost to time.
I mean, we'll have to search YouTube at some point. It looks like there's at least some clips. I'm gonna toss out a couple of books that I love. My sister-in-law gave me a book for Christmas one year called Baseball is a Road to God, Seeing Beyond the Game by John Sexton, which is actually, I forget what school he teaches at. It's a class that he teaches where at NYU, where he uses baseball as like a jumping off point to look for greater meaning.
Mm.
You know, so it's another philosophy book. It popped into my head when Brian was talking. But then the other one, just because it's A, I just love the Cubs, and B, um, it's just such a cool idea. Kevin K. Duck wrote a book that came out in 2006 called Wrigley World: A Season in Baseball's Best Neighborhood, where he went to, I guess he only went to 62 of the 81. I forget exactly what he did for the other ones because there was specific stuff going on. But he went to almost every home game, but never bought tickets before the day of the game. So he'd either buy them if it wasn't sold out, go to the, and went out of his way to try not to pay more than face value. So you got to learn all sorts of crazy stuff. Like if you wait until the national anthem gets played, you can often get tickets at pennies on the dollar. Not quite as much now as then, but like it became my roadmap to going to baseball games cheap for a while. Um, it was just a fun book. So, and then I got to give a shout out to the Baseball Project. I love that there's a band of fantastic rock and rollers, members of REM and the Minus Five, etc., that just write songs about baseball. Yeah, no.
Well, you got to get Tiffany Babb on here next time.
Well, I told you to let her know
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
don't have her contact info.
She's traveling, so I know
Yeah.
she would not be able to do it. But
That's
yeah,
fair.
Brian, you know Tiffany, right?
Maybe.
Tiffany Babb, she also writes about comics and
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
she used to work for
Yeah.
Popverse. Yeah. No,
I backed her recent Kickstarter.
yeah, she's got a lot of baseball stuff going on. So next year we have to have Tiffany on here.
It
for
seems
sure.
like every year we find more and more people that
Yeah.
are willing to come. So we'll have
Yeah.
to, who knows? Maybe we'll turn it into a preseason and
Maybe we could have just
postseason
one
thing.
for the Mets.
We're a little overrepresented in this group.
Yes, it's true. But we're so proud to show it off. You know what, Mark? Did you do your books? Did you do your media?
Oh yeah, Mark has
No.
Mark.
I've got a couple. I think Rob mentioned The Battered Bastards of Baseball earlier, which is a documentary about the Portland Mavericks, minor league baseball team that was unaffiliated, not part of the farm team, which actually made it kind of fun because guys just would show up and it was very loose. And Kurt Russell played for the Mavericks for a while, and it's just a really great documentary about about baseball as a profession, which can still be fun. And I think there's a lot of lessons in there where even though you're trying to make money or you're trying to make a living, there are ways, there are niches probably in every economy where you can still make it fun, where you can still kind of make it a good experience for yourself. And the other recommendation I had was the Harold Lloyd silent film Speedy, which really isn't about sports. It's about him as a taxi cab driver in New York, but he's a Yankee obsessed. He's like always trying to find out what the score is on the Yankees game. And at one point, he takes his cab to Yankee Stadium and is watching the game there. And he sees his boss there, and so he has to split. But then outside the stadium, he picks up a fare, and it happens to be Babe Ruth. And it is actually Babe Ruth, like getting in, acting in the film. And I think it is maybe the best acting performance of not only any baseball player ever, but any professional athlete. Because the premise is that like Speedy is like driving him through New York, and it's one of those scenes, maybe the first scene in film history where the camera's going down this incredibly busy street, all these near misses, people and horses and carriages and bicycles just flying by, and it keeps cutting to like Babe Ruth, and he's just like white knuckle terrified. He thinks he's just seeing this stuff goes by, and he's sure that the cab is going to like kill all these people and probably him. And then he gets Babe Ruth to where he's going, and and Babe Ruth gets out and he says, "Thanks, I'll call you again when I feel like killing myself." And it was just a great scene. And yeah, Babe Ruth utterly sold like how terrified he was. And just thinking about audiences in the early 1920s, that had to be like, I mean, comedy aside, it had to be sort of a terrifying, sort of stomach dropping experience, just because your mind's eye hadn't acclimated yet to the idea that, like, oh no, this isn't really a camera in the cab. The cab isn't actually experiencing all these near misses. It's just like, on a track or a bicycle or something. But to me, it was just like probably the best scene involving a baseball player in film history. And it was filmed in, I think, 1923.
It's a 1928 movie. It is on HBO Max. So I know what I'm watching after the unauthorized Bash Brothers.
Babe Ruth had he had acted in the movie before that, yeah? Like he had acting experience.
Who?
I know he acted in movies, but this is 28. So would he have done it before this or after this?
Before. It's a silent movie, right?
Mhm.
Isn't he?
He was actually
movie?
Babe Ruth was actually in Pride of the Yankees, which was filmed later.
Yes, he was.
40s. But I think this was his first movie.
Speedy is.
I've got him up on. Or I've got Babe.
No, he's in a movie called Head and Home.
Yeah.
1920.
He's in some god awful movies.
I haven't seen it, but I just remember reading. I was doing a research project kind of about Babe Ruth and comics.
I have seen the Slide Babe Slide short. I feel like it was a bonus on a like an Easter egg on one of some baseball movie DVD. It's bad, but funny because he tears his pants sliding and then runs to get on the train.
The old hole in the pants gag. Oh, never fails. Never fails.
So, since we're comics nuts and there aren't enough American baseball comics, manga gives us a few. We need more of them translated to what either historical story or fictional type thing can you imagine that you would love to see a comic made of?
I just want to say, sorry, because you brought up manga. I just think that Shohei Ohtani, he loves manga. He reads it all the time. All his teammates joke about him just on his iPad, constantly reading manga. I think we need Shohei Ohtani to put his foot into the comics world and just give some quotes on the back of some baseball manga. Because
I mean, he has said that Major is the reason.
I know. And Major is not, you can't buy the book in English. And I'm just,
now,
you could use 0.001% of his contract to put all those books in the print. I'm just saying, I think a Shohei Ohtani quote on a manga would go insane. Like, I mean, I know he loves Slam Dunk, and I know he likes, I guess did I see he read One Piece? I don't know. But I just know he's in it, but
Derek's
I'm dying
gone,
for more.
But I'm gonna have to like email him now and say, so the next time you're talking to Shohei, tell him that there's a comics podcast that would love to talk manga with him.
Well, I don't even need to talk to him. I'm just saying he needs to do it for the good of the comics world.
Too. I feel like him even though he was in the same market before, I feel like him going to the Dodgers has made him even more of a presence to the general public. And
people, none of my friends watch baseball, and so but people know who he is, and that's amazing to me.
Shohei is special.
I get a little. I'm like, wow, you actually know who a baseball player is, but they don't know who Aaron Judge or Bryce Harper is.
Yeah, but if you did, I bet you, I mean, if he could meet Junji Ito or whoever, he would.
Oh, that's how we have to get him.
Heidi, can you make that happen?
I mean, no, but I can dream about it.
If you could get Junji Ito a ticket to the Dodgers.
Oda. You gotta get him to meet Chiro Oda because that guy never does any public appearances. So there you go, completely impossible.
I know somebody in comics with Dodger season tickets. So
I mean, there's a lot of Dodgers.
I mean, if we can get the people here.
The whole Hernandez brothers, they're all Dodgers fans.
Yep.
I went to Dodger Stadium with Jaime and Katie
Oh,
Scully.
nice. Wow,
Yeah.
nice.
Katie
That
was
was-
telling me about that.
That was really fun. But anyways, I just had to say, Shohei, we need
Mm.
you. There's no baseball manga in English. We need it.
Mm.
There's Cross Game and there's Ace of the Diamond.
I published one. I brought it because
Bat
this is the
Kid.
reason I'm here.
Yep.
Is Bat Kid. I would love to know if Shohei's ever heard of it because it's from 1947.
Right.
But
just send him a copy.
we've talked about it, but I don't think it's possible.
What do you mean? Send it to Dodger Stadium.
I don't know.
Have you talked to the Dodgers PR people?
It kind of feels no, it's not even close. It doesn't feel obtainable.
Well, you know, I got Dan DiDio to meet Matt Harvey
that's
and
cool.
give him a Dark Knight Batman gift set. So, you know, you never know. You never know.
True.
But it took a lot of connections to
well, maybe once he's retired in 10 years, we'll finally get, or more than 10. Who knows when?
Yeah.
I'm going to do a totally self-serving version, which is one of the first comics I ever did at Marvel, was an issue of Marvel Adventures Spider-Man where Peter Parker does something Spider-Sensey and gets drafted to be the shortstop on his high school baseball team. But the opposing team pitcher is Barry Osborne. And of course, Norman Osborn is insane and, you know, can't stand that Peter keeps showing him up on the ball field. So the Green Goblin tries to murder him. And I bring that up only because I love this. The people listening won't be able to appreciate this, but I wanted to share this amazing.
Oh man!
Marvel Adventures number
cover.
Is that 34?
That is Marvel Adventures Spider-Man Volume 1, number 34.
Wow, with the logo they ripped off from Disney Adventures, same swoosh, everything.
Heidi, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to trigger you.
No, it's okay. I forgot about it until now. So, yeah.
But that's Patrick Scherzer.
Well, but did they?
Hey, everybody, I gotta go. Thanks for having me.
Have a great one, Mark.
Yeah, take care, Mark.
Because I mean, Disney owns Marvel, so is it really ripping off?
Well, they didn't then.
They
didn't. They didn't when Marvel. Not in 1997. It was a direct ripoff.
Maybe that's how they wound up owning Marvel. They threatened to sue.
Maybe.
I'm going to say the thing that I tell anybody who lives in Japan to watch out for me is, because this is a real thing that's just so perfect for manga that I have to believe that it will eventually be made into one if it hasn't already. In like slow pitch softball league in Tokyo, and apparently the slow pitch softball, it gets taken just as seriously as all the other baseball on top in Japan. Like, you've got PTA teams out for blood. The one team that's not out for blood, they get the crap beaten out of them on a regular basis, is the retired Yakuza team. There was a New York Times article on them. They literally changed their uniforms from gold and black to pink and black because they were scaring the teams they were playing against. And they wanted to send them the message that it was okay to beat the crap out of them. But the team combined has spent more than 250 years in prison.
Wow.
And I feel like, I mean, you've got the retired Yakuza house husband, you've got, cooking in the dungeon. Manga is all about combining crazy things. So the fact that there's actual real life retired Yakuza playing softball in Japan, I feel like there has to be a manga along those lines. And I want to see it.
There's a lot of baseball manga. I don't know where it is now. The guy who translated Bad Kid, he's a huge baseball fan, Ryan Holmberg, and he's given me quite a few books in Japanese, just being like, maybe we should do this. Maybe like look at this one, and some of it's just flat out amazing looking. I can't read it. I don't speak Japanese, but yeah, there's just a lot of potential, and I think Shohei Ohtani would be a perfect candidate to edit that series. And
Yes.
Yes.
He could just publish it. He can afford to publish it.
He
and
can.
I'd be willing to help. And you know what? Out of the goodness of my heart, I could get in on.
I think you should send him a copy of Bat Kid and a letter.
I think, yeah, I'm sure he has time between his New Balance and whatever other deals.
Except that he doesn't have
dog.
to have time. He has to put his name on it.
That's
I
it.
know, it's true.
That's it.
You know, that was another great moment this season is when Shohei Ohtani's dog threw out the first pitch, and it was awesome. It was just great.
I mean,
Yeah,
dog's no Hawk Tui girl, but sure.
Yeah, but I mean, there was
good.
there was so many magical things. But the one sad thing that happened this year was it really tragically broke my heart was when the White Sox beat the Mets, the 62 Mets
Yeah.
record for most.
Record.
Yeah,
but
that was
how
a
about this?
wunder. That was a
The
wunder.
the White Sox don't even know how to lose right. One of their 2 3-game winning streaks of the entire season was sweeping the Angels at home when they were at 119 losses.
Right.
So they
I know,
wound up
and I know,
tying
and I was like, they're
breaking
gonna
the record in
do it.
Detroit rather than in front of the hometown. It was
God
their
is-
only 3 sellouts of the year.
God is going to step in and protect those 62 Mets by putting these White Sox on a tear.
Well, wasn't it like though the Mets still have the worst winning percentage?
Yes,
because the
thank
White
God.
Sox played slightly more games.
Yes.
The season's longer now.
Whew, yes, exactly. So they played 8 more games, so they still have some sort of recognition for terribleness. It just feels wrong. But what made the White Sox so bad? I mean, how did they get so many bad players?
Reinsdorf,
Ownership.
Reinsdorf,
I didn't actually.
and Reinsdorf.
I've heard
And
it's
in spite
they
of
were
that,
also
he
insanely
thinks that the city
unlucky.
of Chicago would like to build him a $2 billion stadium.
Yeah.
Well, that was another epochal event was Hurricane Milton ripping the roof right off of the Rays Stadium there. That was incredible. Now they're not going to be able to play there for 2 years, so they're going to have to play in a.
Well, and now their deal for a stadium is apparently on thin ice at this point too. So like they're headed to Steinbrenner Field next year, and they don't know where from there.
We have
Oakland keeps saying that they're
short
still headed to Vegas, but Oakland also hasn't actually showed actual plans for a stadium or in Vegas or had anybody say how it's going to get paid for. So we have 2 nomad teams right now.
All right, that's crazy.
Steinbrenner Field is nice. I've been there, but it seats like 12, 13,000 people or something.
What?
That's how many-
Wait, sorry,
that's
you
how many-
said the
That's how we
Steinbrenner
go
one?
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The one-
Yeah,
that's
I've
how
been there too. It's the same dimensions as Yankee Stadium.
Except
But,
for the seating area.
right. But that's
Well,
how
the
many
field
people
dimensions.
the Rays draw, so that's fine.
Yeah. They might actually have higher attendance than last year.
I don't know, man. It's going to be hot. That's the thing that's kind of
Yeah.
terrifying. That's going to
Yeah.
like a July game there, or August game there. That's kind of, yeah, it's kind of scary.
But because my in-laws live in St. Pete, the issue has always been there's this giant bridge right connecting the main.
Yeah.
So that's why it's partly why nobody goes. I mean, the real reason nobody goes is because everyone in Florida roots for a spring training team.
Yeah. My grandmother lived in Sarasota, so I used to go every year and go to Orioles and Pirates and Yankees, and those are like the ones that were kind of within the driving.
I went to my first spring training game this year, and the Mets built this beautiful field, but it's a town called Port St. Lucie, a town I would only hear of because I'm a Mets fan, and
Yeah.
the stadium is like in the middle of just like this gnarly like gravel like flea market state fair. It's like in the middle of nowhere, like it just dropped out of the sky, and I'm just like, it was just sort of fascinating to me that there was this incredibly, high-tech complex in the middle of a town that, as far as I could tell, their major export, or at least their major industry, was the same condo complex, just created one after the other, just rows and rows and rows of palm trees and McMansions. It was bizarre. Although what was cool was it's on the East Coast, right? So it's south of Cape Canaveral, and so we actually saw we were trying to see a rocket launch, and we saw one from the ballpark.
Oh, that's awesome.
Arc going up like
Nice.
miles to the north, you could still see it in the ballpark. It was pretty neat.
That reminds me when I was talking with Brian Azzarello and Stephanie Phillips at C2E2, they were telling me that they went to the Eclipse game in Cleveland this year.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Azzarello's a big Guardians and Cubs fan. More baseball, lots of baseball. Any other stories that we think could make good comics? Darren, you were cooking something for a while that I never got to hear about. I just gave you a list of people who like baseball.
We're still in progress with that. So
still cooking?
It's still cooking. It's still cooking. Yeah, me and my partner have been shuffling ideas around. It'll be an anthology type thing, but yeah,
Right.
should be a lot of fun. I would love to see stories beyond Jackie Robinson, just going to the Negro Leagues and just showcasing different talents from that era. It's just
me too.
Yeah.
I mean, frankly, in a lot of ways, I'd love to see any baseball stories, period, from like the early teens through the 40s or 50s. I think, the train years, you could just, whether you were writing actual history or fiction, you could do so many interesting things because of the people who hung out around the ballpark and the game. Now the game's all, part of white collar crime. Back then, it still was up against. So Rob has to go be commissioner this afternoon, so he is saying
Bye,
goodbye.
Rob.
Thanks,
Bye,
everybody.
Rob.
Good
Always
to
good
see you.
see you.
See you next time, I hope.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
But I totally agree. I think you could make a Satchel Paige comic. I think you could take all of those stories that Buck O'Neill told, at some point one of my dreams is to get a handful of comics creators into a room or a Zoom chat with Bob Kendrick and just pitch it hard. This is something
I think
that the Negro League Baseball Museum.
There is a Satchel Paige comic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Satchel Paige Strikes Out Jim Crow by James Sturm and
I think you just said you wanted
Rich
one because I
Tomasi.
was like, that one's already done.
But there are so many Satchel stories.
Sure, yeah. Of course,
that one wasn't even hugely about Satchel. It was a fictional story of somebody going and watching Satchel.
Yeah.
I was my week started out. I went to a funeral, so that was fun. But after the wake afterwards, I was talking to the older guy who was talking about this is deep super mega Italian Brooklyn, and he was talking about running and flipping baseball cards in the 90s when it was remember in 91 when the market just went huge, and obviously that kind of ended up catching up the comic stores and that as well, and so it's actually a part of the comic story. So it would be fun to do an American Buffalo type crime heist with the exploding baseball market in 1991.
Yeah, you could do Uncut Gems. But it's
yes,
100%.
Yeah.
Great.
I mean, I know
idea.
there's certainly some hustlers out there. And I bet some of them made money.
Yeah. Well, in 91.
Yeah,
Well,
if you got out and did it in time, yeah.
What was the story? Wasn't one of the wasn't there a Honus Wagner card that got um the edges filed down with a laser and
It's
then
like the
resold?
didn't it's the Wayne Gretzky one, right? Didn't he own it? Am I crazy? Is that right?
I don't know. I'm trying to look it up right now.
It's the one that's yeah. There's a lot of questions about that one. The T207.
Mm. What they thought it was shaved down or something?
No,
Yeah,
there was one. Somebody bought one and then shaved it down and then brought it back on the market, saying it was a recently found best ever condition.
Oh,
Because really,
wow.
what they'd done is they'd use a laser to just
Kind of
trim the
sweet,
edges just enough to make
just to
it
smooth it down. Wow.
right.
Wow, wow. Has have all you guys read Lost Diamonds by Ellen Lindner?
Yes,
Yes, because I was gonna say she does these
I
historical
invited her. She was busy.
yeah, so well you got to have her on obviously, but she does the historical comics about women in baseball, and she has some great Negro League stories in there,
Yep.
and a lot of good stuff
I got
that
you.
I
Well,
never
because
no idea.
she did a great issue on Effa Manley,
Yeah, well,
who
who I'd never
I
heard
mean,
of.
Effa Manley is another one that you could absolutely just mine for so much, or the Pittsburgh Crawfords and Gus Greenlee. You got the Pittsburgh numbers runner built his own stadium because, believe it or not, teams can build their own stadiums. They don't need cities to do it.
Well,
Yeah.
got to go to Cooperstown for the first time in like a decade this year. And they have a fantastic women in baseball
Yeah.
exhibit that's really neat.
Yeah. No, I haven't been to Cooperstown in a couple of years, but has everybody, well, has everybody made it to the Hall of Fame? I know
I haven't. I've never
you
been.
I've
haven't.
never
No.
been either.
Nope.
Well, then we're gonna have to
Field trip.
do a pilgrimage together.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
need
We'll do
need
the
a reason
baseball
to
and
go up
comics
there.
road trip.
Yeah.
All my road trips are for comics. I need to change it.
I know,
So
right?
what we
It's
need to
like
do is arrange for a mini Comic Con in Cooperstown, and Brian
There it
will
is.
go.
Cooperstown
yeah.
is in the middle of effing nowhere.
Yeah.
Like it's
I
insane.
know, I know.
But it was mobbed when I was there, and we were there like on a Tuesday, and
Yeah.
this woman's pushing a stroller through the thing, and she just yells out, "Why is this place here?" It's like
It's
what you said, lady.
it's funny
Yeah.
because I was taking the well, my family lives in Maine and I take the bus quite a few times, and like just one day it happened to go through Springfield, Massachusetts, and I was like, oh look, it's the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Yeah, the
Like
Basketball Hall of Fame is
it's not in the middle of nowhere at all. It's in a little town, but where's the hockey? I've been by the Hockey Hall of Fame too.
it's the only Hall of Fame I've ever been to that has a Stone Cold creamery in the inside, so the entire place smells like ice cream. It's like off
Sounds
highway. It's brutal, man.
That's amazing. You know what? This is a good segue for me to bring up one other topic that's burning me. Okay.
Let's hear it.
So in the Hall of Fame, they have the OMG sign is officially in the Hall of Fame now to commemorate the Mets 24 season. But you know, we should do a manga about Jose Iglesias. How does this happen? Like, I mean, I understand that you can make music in your living room now with, the Pro Tools that we have, but like, how does your backup second baseman suddenly have a hit song? And where does he go from here? I mean,
He's a free
is
agent.
is he going to tour?
Yes.
Is he going to be with Pitbull? I mean, what does he do what do we think Jose Iglesias is going to do with his life?
I mean, depends on what team he signed with, right?
Oh my God is done if he signs with another team. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Right. That's right.
I mean, that's another thing just about 24. It'll never happen. And also, by the way, not if, but when the Mets signed Juan Soto. I believe it was the mother of Peterson, David Peterson's mother, and who said, they would never have had oh my God with Scherzer and DeGrom. And she's 100% right. Like those, it took these kind of humble utility itinerant players to really go with the grimace and go with, oh my God, when Soto comes, there's not going to be any of
Hey,
this tomfoolery.
it was the same with 2019 Nationals,
Uh-huh.
Bryce Harper had to leave, and then we got Baby
Yep.
Shark and all that stupid shit
Yep.
that carried us all the way.
That's right. And
Yeah.
what has Bryce Harper done since then?
He's simped to Philadelphia nonstop.
Yes, but he keeps losing. He can't stop losing.
Yeah. All right, I have to get out of here. Great talking, guys.
Good
Thanks
to
for
see
having me,
ya. Good to
Chad.
see
See
ya,
you,
Brian.
Yeah, we should probably wind down.
Yeah.
But I
Now with all the Mets fans
That's
left,
right.
we
Mets
just
Comic
we
Podcast
just
taking
can't
over.
get it. We
it's
can't
now
get
it's
enough.
now the Mets podcast, and I'm gonna lose all of my Cubs fan Ron Santo is turning over in his grave right now. I mean, I grew up listening to him on the radio, and I'm pretty certain Pat Hughes just kept his hand on the cough button when they were playing the Mets. Because it was always these Mets.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I felt good for you guys. I like any good baseball story. In fact, I think one of the reasons I like the fact that the Cardinals and the Yankees are never truly bad is I never have to feel good for them when they have their underdog year. The Mets, I'm okay with it. And there was something fitting about it being the year, I mean, it's where Willie Mays wrapped up his career. So to see them in the year Willie passes,
November to start the year.
yeah. But yeah, I also remember watching Dwight Gooden mow down Cubs. So, I still
Who was the Nationals fan who was on here?
Brian Baines does the
Brian.
Bubbles
Yeah.
magazine.
Bubbles,
Yeah,
Brian Baines.
Inc.
But they had Winker earlier in the year, and he was doing some wild shit when he was with the Nationals as well. He was dressing up as, on the 4th of July game, he's dressed up as Uncle Sam. So, they had the Winker magic.
Right.
But they could not capitalize on that Winker magic. It took the Mets, and then, but it's like, it is like this, movie. It's like it's like the movie where they show what happened to everybody at the end, right? Because then it's like,
Right.
oh, here's Lindor's the 4-year-old daughter's birthday party, and there's Jesse Winker still there. So you get to, it's like fanfic. You get to really imagine the whole story in your mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think that's another reason that baseball lends itself so well to storytelling. I mean, you could take whether you did a nonfiction or fictionalized version, you could take all of those stories of Mets season, put it as the backdrop of some kid or adult, who's having a rough time, and this is, or have it be like the player on the team or the manager. I mean, there are just so many ways to take all of the different nuances of baseball and make it cool. I mean, I think the only other sport that has as much good storytelling done around it is boxing, and that's not as fun overall.
Not anymore. Fred, you've done so many great history books, comic books about history. Have you ever thought of doing one about baseball or sport?
Well, my buddy Alex Irvine beat me to the comic book baseball, which came out from Random House a few years back.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yes.
Which is good, but since he's off the air now, I'll out Rob. He because he's mentioned it on the air. He hasn't been able to bring himself to read it because he was told that there was a handful of like inaccuracies in it that he knew would get under his skin.
Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah, it would be a fun idea. I just think that, in America, it's probably a tough sell. Not this ever stopped me before, but
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the way major league owners over the last couple of decades have become so obsessed with immediate profits, just like most of corporate America, um, has wound up really cutting down on the market for baseball in an unnecessary way. When it started becoming hard to watch games, when almost all of the baseball being played by youth is on pay to play travel teams, you know, all of these things are things that they could change in a heartbeat. I mean, West Coast League, Rob's league is a woodbat collegiate league, and you can watch every game for free on the internet. You can watch every game in the Dominican League for free on the internet. It wouldn't be that hard for them to decide to cut down a little bit on immediate profits to make the game infinitely more popular.
Oh, but to push back on a positive note, the demographics and numbers for this most recent postseason were pretty terrific and skewed much
Yeah.
younger than they have recently. So
Finally getting a little bit younger.
and I think
I
obviously
think we can
do with Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think we can blame Shohei almost exclusively for that. Judge probably too, but I think Shohei has captured, and I mean, manga has captured that
If
group
Michael
too. So I
Jordan
think
could single-handedly,
right.
carry the
I,
NBA
th-
on his shoulders.
I think Brian's actually onto something that Shohei should get into manga, and that would make baseball more popular.
Well, yet another highlight of the Mets season was when they went to England.
Yeah.
And we got to have that whole experience as Mets fans this year, with all the players tweeting funny things in England, which, I were pretty dopey, to be honest. But
Yeah.
it was
I
like
heard one more bad English accent from a local New York sportscaster.
it was
I missed, how did those games get attended? Because I was surprised when they announced that they were going to England, because even as Europe goes, it's got generally less interest in baseball than.
So again, I listen to this radio show all the time on the fan, WFAN. And one of the hosts went, and he said that most of the people who attended the games that he went to were Americans who flew to London to watch.
Right.
So
Right.
it's
Because I'm just thinking both France and Italy have leagues that our players occasionally wind up in when they're trying to keep playing for a couple of years. I don't think England does.
but they have cricket, same thing.
One day I'll learn how cricket works. I haven't yet. It confuses me.
I'm in a writers group with a bunch of British writers, and there are a lot of them are huge cricket nuts. I don't understand half the things
Yeah. My ex-husband tried to explain, and he says, well, some matches go on for a week, but then there's the one that just lasts a couple of hours. I'm like, no, how is the sport?
Right.
The game
Right.
should be finite, not an activity that goes on
Right.
endlessly.
I will say though that this is a place where the fandom sometimes crosses over, because I remember I had a discussion with Nick Hornby at a signing of his many years ago, because he was writing a column for The Believer called Stuff I've Been Reading. And when he was in LA selling the movie rights to Fever Pitch to be adapted to a baseball movie, he decided, he spent a lot of time watching the Cubs and the Red Sox in 2003, became fans of both of them because he was an Arsenal fan, and they were the Premier League equivalent of the, I don't want to say lovable losers, because particularly the Red Sox were never the lovable losers. They were just the losers that couldn't quite get over that hump. But one of the things he'd picked up was Moneyball, and what he wrote about it was, I just read Moneyball and only understood one word in four, and it's the best sports book I've read in a decade. And when I was reading this was literally like a week after I'd finished reading Fever Pitch, and I know so little about soccer for our American listeners and football for the rest of the world. that I had like the exact same feeling about soccer or Fever Pitch. It's like I don't get any of the stuff about the game, but the fan stuff I get really, really well. So like I was talking to him, I think it was the next year or possibly the year. It was either '04 or '05 that I was talking to him at a book signing that I deliberately waited. And if you ever want to talk to your favorite writer, the way to do it is you let everybody go in front of you and you cross your fingers that because you're the last person in line, they'll chat with you rather than going, I really need to go to the bathroom. um, so we wound up talking baseball for like 15 minutes because like I told him that. He's like, yeah, I was just watching Josh Beckett last night. I'm like, I thought we were going to have a couple of moments about the similarities. And he was instead, because he was on an American book tour, had immediately fallen back into his baseball rhythms that he built up the previous summer. So it's funny to me how fandom can be so similar across sports, at least for those sports with similar seasons.
Well, as I'm sure I said the first time I was on this podcast, baseball is the one sport that mimics the seasons. It bursts anew with spring, presses on through the long, hot days of summer, intensifies during the crisp days, nights of autumn, and in winter, we
goes
go
to sleep.
dormant and we sleep, waiting for spring to come anew.
That is a perfect way to wrap up. So
I know I said it because I'm like, I gotta go actually.
No. For you can find Heidi at The Beat. You can find Darren at And World Design. Fred Van Lente has a Kickstarter going right now called, is it
Eat Fighter?
Eat Fighter.
The anti-fascist fast food competition you've wanted.
And our other guests also had things that I didn't manage to mention, but I'll throw them up in the show notes, which I've actually started finally like writing again. So thank you all for joining us.
Thanks
and
for having us.
Panels.
It's really great to talk about baseball once a year with you guys. So thank you so much.
We will see you after the next page.
Enjoy.
Hey guys, this is Tyler from 22 Panels. I'm here to tell you all about our Patreon. If you enjoy this show, please consider donating to our Patreon to keep this show going. We have many different tiers, all different levels to help you decide what's right for you. Okay, so get on out there to patreon.com/22 Panels Podcast.